A JetBlue aircraft almost crashed into another jet when he was trying to land at Boston Logan Airport. It's been a fourth close call between the major airlines in the past couple of months. So we're gonna take a look at this incident and try to find what's happened wrong.
Flight data tracking service known as Flight Radar 24 is estimating that these two planes came within 530 feet of each other. In other words, less than the length of two football fields. Among the passengers on board JetBlue Flight 206 as it was about to land last night at Logan, Joe Bisbee and Lily Sternberg, who were returning from a vacation in Nashville.
And then hitting the ground and then going back up within seconds, like you definitely got a jolt, and then nobody knew what was going on.
So as you mentioned, he was one of the passengers on board in a JetBlue Flight 206, which is planning to land at a Boston airport, or as you mentioned already, it sounds like aircraft touched down on the runway and then got airborne again, like a touch and go.
The Federal Aviation Administration says the near miss happened at the intersection of runway 9 and runway 4 right. Tower controllers had told the pilot of a private Learjet waiting on runway 9 to wait. But then, just as Flight 206 was coming in, the jet crossed in front of its path.
And once we got, I would say far enough up, the plane was like to the side. We were definitely having to take some sharp turns, so it was definitely really scary.
Alright, now just take a look at this article. It says, according to the preliminary review, the pilot of Learjet took off without a clearance while JetBlue flight was preparing to land on our intersection runway. An air traffic controller instructed the pilot of Learjet to line and wait runway 9er, while the JetBlue Embraer 190 landed on a runway 4 right, which intersects runway 9er. Now, this is the main cause of this incident in my honest opinion. The Learjet pilot read back the instructions clearly, but began to take a roll instead. The FAA said the pilot of JetBlue aircraft took evasive action and initiated a climb out of the Learjet across the intersection. Now, you probably might have thinking about a runway's intersection, and you might got a little rattled. Don't worry, now just pay attention right here. This is what we're talking about right now. Now look at the runway 4 right, it's crossing the runway 9er, and that's our intersection point. So at the runway 9er, there's a Learjet rolling without a takeoff clearance. On another hand, Embraer JetBlue flight is about to land on runway 4 right. Alright, now we're gonna listen to the actual radio comm and try to break it down.
Jet 280, monitor tower 132.22.
Alright, so Hopperjet 280 is this aircraft right here, and they are approaching runway 9er, and there is another aircraft right there is taking off from the same runway 9er, and here is the runway 4 right where JetBlue gonna land. As I told you a couple of seconds before, runway 9er intersect runway 4 right. At the time, ground says to the Hopperjet 280 that switch to the tower frequency so they can get further instructions, and the tower is either gonna tell them for takeoff or instructed that to line and wait runway 9er. Alright, I wanna tell you something very important. Alright. Now see this Google imagery of this airfield again. Alright, so this is what we're looking for. Google imagery of Boston Logan, runway 9er and runway 4 right. I want to point out something. Now, first of all, take a look at runway 4 right. You can see there's a little white arrows. So all this runway back here, what is known is displaced threshold. So if you're landing, you're not supposed to land on that. You gotta always land at the touchdown zone, which is right here. Now, as you know, the JetBlue gonna land on runway 4 right. They're gonna aim their landing gear right here on this aiming point. What I mean, they're gonna take this 2 white marker as a reference point, which is typically about 1,000 feet down the runway. We call it these 2 things 1,000 feet markers. And this other little marking beyond the runway designator is 500 feet down the runway. So you can see the intersection of this runway 4 right on runway 9er. It's really about 800 feet or something from the displaced threshold. So there's really no room for error if eventually 2 aircraft met there on a takeoff roll and one on the landing. The things could be go horrible wrong. Now we can see how actually these 2 aircraft come from hitting to each other. As one of the passengers says, a JetBlue touched down on the runway before get airborne. I don't think so that's what really happened. Because if you touch down early, somewhere around 500 feet down the runway, so there isn't any margin for error if the touchdown out there. So it could be the pilot saw the potential conflict and then landed along, then touch down, go around, whatever may be. But what I'm thinking, the plane didn't touch down at all, but we're gonna have to wait FAA investigation. Alright, let's see what happened in this rest of the video.
Runway 9er, line up and wait, traffic line cross the runway.
Alright, so there's a Boston Tower telling the Hopperjet to line and wait runway 9er with traffic landing on the runway. So here we have radio phraseology, line up and wait. A means pull on the prepared runway and wait until for next radio call. So the tower expecting to the Hopperjet to line and wait runway 9er and wait to be given a clearance for takeoff. Alright, so these aircraft aren't obviously scaled, as this animation is just for reference only. Now you can see from this animation the Hopper jet is starting rolling for takeoff without a takeoff clearance, and you can see a JetBlue aircraft is about to cross the runway threshold. So JetBlue is supposed to land right here near the intersection of the runways, and apparently now you can see the Hopper jet is in front of JetBlue. Now the also important thing, this aircraft is gonna land on runway 4 left, so it's a very important thing to take into consideration to maintain a visual separation with the traffic, especially with the departing and arriving traffic in the vicinity of that airport. Now the tower sees the Hopper jet rolling for takeoff without a takeoff clearance. That's why they directed JetBlue for a go round, and the JetBlue pilot also sees the Hopper jet rolling on the runway. Now the pilot is performing a go round procedure. They're gonna climb back up to the altitude and obviously gonna get some vectors and maybe gonna fly a public missed approach procedure. Now Aviation right here video says the JetBlue aircraft came 75 to 100 feet closer to the another aircraft when they performed clear go around maneuver. So it's possible they didn't touch down at all.
Runway heading up to, sorry, what's it again, the altitude?
3,000.
3,000. JetBlue 20.
Alright, so now tower directed a JetBlue aircraft to maintain a 4,000 and fly runway heading. So they're gonna fly in a straight line, means they're gonna follow their upwind leg. Once they get up to their 4,000 feet, then they're gonna fly a stranded traffic pattern, and then they're gonna land on the same runway where they just flew over.
Officer 280, contact departure today.
Roger, departure, thank you so much.
Either way, the control did an excellent job recognizing the aircraft on the runway and directing a JetBlue to perform a go round. So if you learned something from this pilot debrief, so be sure to check out another one on the channel, and I'll see you there.